Let's have a look at how the foreign exchange markets are performing. Not a great deal of trend coming through here. We've got the dollar weaker against the yen. We've got the dollar weaker against the euro as well. So perhaps a little bit of dollar weakness coming through. We got that 5.7% Q4 GDP number for the US on Friday. That was certainly better than the markets were expecting, and that added some strength to the US dollar. Watch out for the Aussie dollar as well. Actually, just on the back foot, down 0.2% this morning. But we had some strong housing data there, and of course we've got the RBA decision coming tomorrow, in fact. The euro dollar then 138.77, just taking a little bit of a breather, it seems, from the general downward trend we've seen for the euro of late. This, of course, has a lot to do with the Greece story. Many of Europe's exporters will be quite pleased with that slightly weaker single currency. And this is the picture on dollar yen then, 90.15, down by just 0.1% on the dollar. Let's get an update now on what's happening on the foreign exchange markets. Mario Singh joins us from FX1 Academy. Mario, thank you very much for coming to talk to us. How do you see the dollar proceeding then this year? Because it seems that when we're fearful about risk, we get into the dollar, and when we see strong growth globally, or in particular in the US, we get into the dollar. It seems to be quite a sweet spot at the moment.
Well, it certainly is a sweet spot for the dollar right now. They seem to be enjoying the best of both worlds, because currently what is pushing the dollar up is going to be risk aversion. When there's many problems right now happening all over the world, people are plowing into the dollar. And when there's like good GDP data coming out of the US, people are also buying up the dollar. So that seems pretty good. It blew away expectations for the fourth quarter GDP at 5.7%. But as we look closely into the dollar yen, we did see a small spike up just as results were being announced. But thereafter, I did see a fall of about 400 pips right after the spike up. So traders are not really convinced that the news are all good for the dollar at this moment.
What is your outlook for the dollar over the next 12 months? Because a lot of investors have been caught out. They were counting on a low dollar to support those commodity prices, and they were investing in euros, etc. So where do you think the greenback's headed?
Well, I think for this whole year, for 2010, I do see that the dollar will gain some strength, at least in the next 1 to 2 months. They do seem to be very strong right now. But if you're going to be looking at all the way till 2010, till the end of the whole year, I do see dollar weakness. I just feel that the whole Obama administration, in terms of fiscal policies and monetary policies, they do seem to have quite a lot in their hands. So I do see some dollar weakness towards the end of the whole year.
What about the yen? How's the yen going to do against the dollar in the midst of deflation on one hand, but then safe haven buying into the Japanese currency on the other?
I feel it's going to be a bit more tricky for the Japanese, because at this point they do want to support a weaker yen at this moment. They want to help the whole corporate earnings for exports and all. But because of deflation that's happening all around Japan right now, they really have a big tough move on their hands. So I do see the dollar yen actually snaking down at this point, because it's all about safe haven flows at this point. But I don't see that the Japanese are going to have a very, very strong cause on their hands to get deflation out of their hands, at least for the next 1 to 3 months.
Mario, we've got a number of central banks giving us their rate decisions this week. We start with the RBA tomorrow, possibly the most interesting as well, the only ones who look as if they're going to actually do anything. They must be fairly mindful, though, of the fact that they're tightening whilst many other central banks are not, and what that can do to their currency.
Absolutely, that's coming out tomorrow. I feel there's a 64% chance, at least, well, traders all around the world are pricing in a 64% chance that they're going to raise rates. I'm actually in that category. I do feel that they will be raising rates tomorrow. They have for the last 3 times consecutively. So I don't feel there's going to be any news or any any expectation for them not to be raising rates, because we do see it pricing up at 4%. In terms of the whole economy, that seems to be supporting it as well. Inflation's at this point at a 6-month high. Property prices are going up. So people are bullish on the Aussie dollar. It's just that right now we do see the Aussie dollar, I think, is at about 88.20 at this point of time. So it does present good buying opportunities, but traders are watching the RBA tomorrow. I do see that it will raise to 4% tomorrow.
What are you expecting to hear from the ECB later in the week? Is it all about Greece, or can they tell us anything else of interest?
Well, traders all around the world, they are looking at what's happening in Greece. In fact, now there's perennial problems in Spain, in Portugal. In fact, I was just what came to me in news earlier today was that Italy is now having certain problems in terms of the unemployment rates. That's like a sky-high 8.5%. So the unemployment rates are at least at the highest in the last six years. So while all these problems are really affecting the euro at this point of time, I do feel in terms of what the ECB is going to do, they will, it does benefit them at this point of time to have the euro very low. It's like 138 at this point of time. It does help to stimulate consumer demand, it helps certain manufacturing output. So they are going to be slightly pleased with that. But in terms of market aversions, they got to deal with what's happening in Greece at this point of time.
Okay, Mario, thank you so much for joining us today. Great having the show.
Thank
As
you,
always,
Lisa.
that was Mario Singh, the co-founder and the CEO at FX1 Academy, talking about Forex.